So I just want to make a quick video, man. How I've been feeling ever since, I've been making these videos on certain subjects. Honestly, I feel like I've been getting gaslighted, but it is what it is. I think my messages have been misconstrued a little bit, and it's no biggie. I'm just trying to clear things up and make my content more clear. When I made my videos, I was speaking from the heart on some of these certain subjects, and it wasn't really about being a victim. I feel like I got misconstrued. It was about me talking about the other side of the conversation. Reality. I talked about how a lot of these images, especially these negative images, stuff like the mainstream media, have a negative effect on how people view black people, especially, and we have to be honest about that. We can't fool ourselves and be delusional about that. I'm getting to the point where it kind of feel like some guys are just too SYSBM to the point where they start being delusional about reality, about how reality really works. And don't get me wrong, I'm SYSBM to the car. I've been SYSBM basically my whole entire life, so you ain't got to tell me twice. I feel like we ain't really being realistic. This is why I like guys like Sunshine Shoulders. See, your brother lived in the Philippines for like 15 years, and he be making videos telling people how the feel is down in the Philippines, including online. He be keeping it 100 down to the nitty gritty. He don't sugarcoat stuff, and I like that. I like people who don't sugarcoat anything, who keeps it real, and that's what I try to do on my last few videos. I try to keep it real, speaking from the heart. That at the end of the day, these images do have an impact. And I'm not saying don't be an individual or strive for independence or strive to make a better path for yourself. But I'm saying is at the end of the day, we are met with we're met with hardships, and we're met with barriers that we have to go through. And a lot of times we may have to go through these things just because we're black men. And it doesn't matter if you're a thinking black man or SYSBM. At the end of the day, we're all just one big Negro. And that's some truth to that. I'm not saying that I agree with that 100%. I still strive to be an individual, but you gotta call a spade a spade. If it cracks like a duck, sounds like a duck, then nine times out of 10 is a duck. We have to be honest about these issues and not try to sell some type of fantasy. At least 100%. And the videos that I made had nothing to do with being a victim. And I don't necessarily agree with saying, you're a victim or you got a victim mentality just by talking about these issues, by talking about the negative side of these issues, because we're being one sided. What about the other side of the conversation? We always want to talk about the positive side, but we never want to talk about the negative side. I gave solutions in my video, and guess what? I had some pushback. Well, I had pushback from one guy, and that's another video. I'll probably explain that. Excuse me, I'll probably respond to that in another video. But I was coming up with some solutions. I got called delusional. The videos that I made, it was about fairness and controlling the narrative. I get that you're not going to be able to control what everybody thinks about you, and I understand that, but at the same time, we can at least have these images be a little bit more positive, so things can go in our favor, even if it's just a little bit. And it's about controlling the narrative as well. Every other group has access to a media where they can combat certain narratives if necessary. Black people, we don't have our own media. We have to resort to like using YouTube to combat these media propaganda and these media talking points that's a lot of black people who make YouTube videos talking about the news and all that and trying to combat these false information that the news be spreading. And I know that we can't control everybody's image, but we can at least control the narrative that we're not this XYZ or this, that, and the third. We're this and with that, clean cut or, down to earth. Because even if we are a good person, laid back, hard working, that's not the narrative that's serving the media. The only way you can create your own narrative if you interact with other people and they're willing to give you the time of day or willing to have a dialogue with you or willing to open up the door. And it still proves my point what I made in my videos that, people have these pre-assumptions about you. You might meet somebody that never been around black people like that. And you may have been the first or a couple of black person they met and you made a good impression on them and they like, you know what, you're not a bad person. I thought you was gonna be this, that, and the third because I saw these images in the media. The fact that, you know, some of us might go through that proves my point. Like we cannot be delusional about this. Like some of these issues do affect us, these negative images. And I'm not saying woe is me. I'm trying to force people to stop thinking this way. I mean, even though it does kind of get aggravating sometimes, I'm just explaining that, yo, this is what's going on, and we gotta do something about it. So I actually am bringing solutions to the table. I even explain how. This is why I'm saying that you can be, a hardworking brother, a white collar guy, a family man, all you want. But the narrative says that you're no good. You don't you don't take care of your responsibilities. You're lazy, unintelligent, this, that, and the third. That's the narrative. And I'm not saying try to control everybody's image. I'm saying we should try to control the narrative. Because I felt like my words were being misconstrued. And it's not necessary about trying to get validation from everybody. I don't care about not getting acceptance for everybody. My whole thing was not about trying to get validation from people. That's not what. And to be honest, I was kind of feeling this way the past few days because I felt like I was getting gaslighted a little bit. Guys were being disingenuous a little, and I still got love for everybody. Hey, sometimes we're just not gonna disagree. I mean, excuse me. Sometimes we're not all gonna agree with each other on certain things, and that's okay. It doesn't mean we have to go World War III, fourth grade ninja war on each other, tournament of power on each other. We can agree to disagree. I'm just being honest. I just wasn't really feeling the gaslighting because I felt like guys was listening to the videos that I make, but they wasn't hearing. Guys took what they want. They heard what they wanted to hear from the content that I make because it's probably because it didn't meet the narrative with certain fantasies out here. I was talking about. I'm coming from a collective standpoint, not an individual standpoint. especially when I was talking about like on the dating side, I was coming from a general aspect, not a collective aspect. And I wasn't saying that it was just 100% hopeless out here. I'm just saying from like, especially from my perspective and the other guys who might got some perspective to me, that generally they don't see things that often. I'm trying to code it up. It's not rare, even though certain dating markets are becoming more open. It's still rare. It's still not common. And I was talking about that from that aspect. And guys was certain misconstruing what I said, and they was like showing pictures and links to try to misconstrue what I said, rebuttal what I said. And I'm like, you guys, some of you guys know I can go show you like hundreds of thousands of links and photos for every 1,000 supposedly photos that you can show me. Like, there's levels to this. And again, let's act like the anti-blackness don't exist, like it don't have an effect on us. And I'm not saying that we don't have options or certain dating markets aren't open out there or not available. It is, but you have to be in certain areas. You have to know where to find it at, and you probably have to vet people's personalities and stuff like that to see if they open. And I felt like people was misconstruing me on that because some of you guys think I'm having a problem. It wasn't about me. The videos I made, it had nothing to do with me. It, given my observation was at what I was seeing and not seeing. I won't lie, I haven't put myself out in that particular dating field, that dating market, but I was just talking about how, I'm not seeing this, that, and the third, especially where I'm at. I'm from the South. It's not necessarily common. I only seen two unions of that particular two in my whole entire life, like personally, not from a computer screen or social media. I'm talking about like personal scene with my own two eyes in real life. I had a cousin that dated a particular female, and I had a coach that was married to a particular female, and I used to be friends with his son. I used to go, spend the night at his house a lot of times. Yeah, we was cool like that. His mom was cool too. Like she was so cool that you forget the whole race thing. Again, like I'm looking at these videos of particular communities speaking up against anti-blackness in their community, and this chick, she called out her parents, especially her dad. Don't bring a black boy home. She called it out, and this video is not necessary taking shots at anybody. I'm just explaining how I feel. You know, to each his own. Everybody has their different views, and we're not all going to agree with each other on everything. That's fine. And I don't necessarily disagree with everybody. I'm not necessarily disagreeing. I'm just coming at this particular subject from a different angle. I appreciate the responses from people. I really do. And, keep on responding, guys. I like interacting with you guys in the comment section. I really do. So, with that, I'm out.